to Portman Road. This sound indicates an important announcement.
Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to what was promised to be Demolition Derby. Was supposed to be the start of a new beginning. Instead, I've got to talk about Aaron Drinnan in about 5 minutes' time. Good grief. Anyway, welcome in, my friends. First of all, I have been a bit lazy, and I do apologise, but a huge thank you to all of our monthly contributors. The intro on the screen wasn't up to date. This is the up-to-date list. I thank every single one of you. You, of course, are being entered into the May draw. It's so big now. We're going to 2 pages. It's absolutely stunningly brilliant. Don't forget, we are live tomorrow at 8 p.m. with Town co-owner Mark Detmer live on the show. There'll be a live link for you to get involved. Put your questions forward to the owner. So, first of all, let's get some comments. Ipswich Jules, I can understand the Jackson one, but absolutely not the Drennan one. Surely there aren't any clubs linked to him or willing to pay for him. I think I've got more chance of going for a transfer fee than Aaron Drennan. I haven't played in 5 years. Jason Clayton, maybe he's really cheap. We still have Hawkins as well. Oh, you make it so much better, Jason. See you at Angel. Drennan probably going back to Wyland. Mike D, it's day one. Things will happen, I'm sure. Mike Baker, evening all. Can't believe we have Jackson of the year. He's absolutely pony. One of the worst writers I've seen in 48 years of following Town. He's absolute tosh. Josh Russell, good evening, Josh. Ipswich Jules, good evening. We've got Mark Rattle. Evening, everybody. A bit disappointed the clear out was not as hard as I was expecting, especially Jackson. Yeah, somebody get Cruncher on the line. I reckon he's got a 2-ton skip he needs to send back, doesn't he? Everyone was getting in the bin. Dominic was surprised 1 or 2 over him being released, but we don't see training. It might be a confidence thing. Harry Butcher, right, it's just my opinion, but seeing this list today has dampened my mood. This is not a new start. Why are we keeping players that failed last year and the year before? I think it's a very good question. This club has not made the playoffs in 2 seasons out of 2 in League One. That is not acceptable. If your contract was up, there's probably a good chance it should have been up and it should have stayed up. I don't know, though. Who else we got in the room? Sid Driver, welcome in, my man. People ever heard of Cover? Doubt he'll feature. Cover? That's the reason we're in this mess, Sid. He'd been Cover all year. Russell Clayton, who said money were boring? Wonder how many are appealing the club's decision based on Drennan's exclusion. Yeah, I reckon James Wilson's probably showing his Player of the Year trophy and going, look, you should have kept me. Right, let's bring in some contributors. First of all, we have our media mogul. Mr. Phillips, how you doing, my friend?
How we doing? You okay, everybody?
Very well. I was doing great. I was doing fabulous. I was sat there, just had me dinner. I was having a white Kit Kat chunky. I was enjoying life. I was thinking, right, this evening got a nice little show. Other shows are putting their feet up. We're just getting going at Talking Town Towers. And then I got a text saying, "Are you sitting down?" And I thought, "Oh no, oh no."
Yeah.
And from there, it just went. We
still could be talking about a multitude of people now. I'm presuming you're talking about Drinnan, right?
Yes, the one and the only, the one and the only.
It's a funny one. I mean, I just looked up his stats. So he made 22 appearances, but only 6 starts, 1 goal, which was that kind of block tackle at Crewe.
Great tackle.
Yeah, that's a puzzling one. I would, if we was allowed to go into press conferences, we'd love to ask Paul Cook his reasoning behind that. But as I've said on the last couple of shows, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know. I don't know. It's a mystery, that one to me. I don't know.
Everyone doesn't know. He must make a fantastic cup of coffee. I've said
before, right? I do like his swag and how he holds himself when he's done interviews and that. So I think he's probably got a good attitude, and it probably goes a long way with Cook. Maybe Cook sees him as a trustworthy player. He saw most of them as not trustworthy. Perhaps he sees him as trustworthy. I don't know. Whatever. For whatever that might be applied to, I don't know. Like you say,
he trusts him at a cup of coffee. Yeah, I mean, the same way I cling on to my mug with no handles, he is clinging on to Aaron Drinnan.
Yeah. I would have put money on him being leaving.
Look, you've been a big Cook fan. We were promised Demolition Man. We've got more like Guff Man.
Well, I'm reading a few comments there. People saying they'll feel a bit deflated and a bit disappointed, but I think this is probably just the first phase of the demolition. I think he's going to try and probably get some fees for players. That's my thinking. Or use them as collateral to get other people in.
What is he, David Dickinson? He's going to take this mink vase known as Aaron Drinnan down to the local car boot. Going to try and get £2.50 for it. Come on. Even the real deal couldn't get that one going. Oh, good grief.
Let's show that. Big fan of her, David. Yeah,
big fan.
He's going to try and I don't know, maybe for Jackson, for argument's sake, he's going to try, because he's been linked to a lot of championship clubs. Maybe they want a fee. Maybe they want to use him to, in part of a swap deal to bring someone in. Wheeling and dealing, Harry Redknapp calls it.
Yes, sold to the fat bastard in the blue blazer. Right, let's complete our wonderful trio, and then we'll get into the ins and the outs of who's staying, who's going.
Man, I'm gully and techie. You want me, then check me. Just butt me, I'm ready. I need that money in heavy. I'm banging these raps like Pumpy with Shelly. Shell it, daddy, I'm dipping. I said that I'd leave, but I'm back in the kitchen. She pour it, back it, I'm sipping. Feeling away, but she tackling feelings. Man, I'm gully and techie. You want me, then check me. Butt me, I'm ready. I need that money in heavy. Banging these raps like Pumpy with Shelly. Shell it, daddy, I'm dipping. Said that I'd leave, but I'm back in the kitchen. She pour it, back it, I'm sipping. Feeling away, but she tackling feelings. I hit it in skirring, gassed it. She calls it childish, I call it tactics. White doors on a coupe, but I wrapped it. Got a next one, remapped it, rapid.
Callie, the king is in.
Hi, Callie.
How you doing, guys? I'm good. How are you doing?
You're doing well. I'm good. Loving the swag. Loving the swag, man. Looking fresh.
I've worn this a few times, but you know what it is? Sometimes I'm just sitting too low or the camera's there, so you just see like a black jacket.
My man,
it's only taken all season.
So. He's been seeing Toto today, so he's sitting chest up, shoulders out. Look at him, look proud as punch. Look, my mate's Toto in Tiala.
Toto buy lunch, Kelly? Did he buy the lunch?
He's always buying the lunch, mate. Yeah.
Glad.
Yeah, nice in Birmingham and Handsworth. If you're ever about there in Handsworth, there's one called Jerk and Grill. Oh. Nice little Caribbean place there as well. And they've got terrace, so you can sit out there and dine as well.
Nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. Jade Chadwick, surely we have to keep some players. Yeah, they're not paying for it, Kelly. It's unrealistic to think everyone would go. Not a bad clear out. Hopefully more to go. Well, let's start with Toto, because Toto has had his extension activated. I know you'll be okay with that, Callie, because you just had lunch with the guy, so you're hardly going to say terrible.
Get that guy gone.
Oh no, that's a cruncher move. That is. But Matt, what do you make of Toto getting a new?
Yeah, I mean, we discussed this briefly yesterday, didn't we? Now, Callie, I've not been Toto's biggest fan over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
I have said if I voted this year for Player of the Year, he would have got my Player of the Year, because I do feel like he contributed to a lot of those clean sheets. And I did feel like he would get he would get an extension because Cook brought him in at Accrington. So I feel like he's probably one of those trusted. I think he's probably one of those trusted figures. So there you go, fair play. I think League One is a good level for him. I think maybe in Championship, maybe not. But I think League One, he's a bit of a rock, and he proved that this season, I think.
Yeah, surprised he didn't feature at all. Because me and Callie were talking about this, weren't we, for several weeks. Me and you, we were going backwards and forwards. Because I was thinking at one point he was going to be given a deal, and then I thought, well, if he wasn't given a deal, even with McGuinness's Arsenal financial implications, a rotation with Wolfenden would have been on the cards. Like you play one week, you play the other week. He was completely dropped.
But like I was saying then, I was always confident he was going to get a deal. I thought maybe he'd want to go there and get a a 2-year or something as well, because he's got a young family as well. So maybe he's thinking about settling down there or whatever. But then the thing with him being out of the team, I wasn't so bothered, because I think it was at that point, the way I looked at it, and I was saying to you before, is I think he's kind of agreed he knows what he's going to offer Chambers. He knows what he's going to offer Toto. Because they did offer Chambers some terms. It was just very, small compared in terms of roles or whatever. So I believe there was terms offered or whatever, but it wasn't what he was expecting. Yeah. So he's going to go. He'll probably go Cambridge United and get them promoted to the Championship anyway.
Things like that. Matt Phillips, 2 days in a row, we're tree blessed.
It's going to be 3 tomorrow. You'll be sick of me.
It will be, yeah. Christ, I'll be sick of you in 10 minutes' time.
He changed the background as well. Yesterday it was one room. Now he's in another room.
Yeah.
Go to a third room on the tour.
Don't. He's got more wings than the White House. So yeah, with Toto's inclusion, that brings us to 3 centre halves: Enciala, Wolfenden, and Corey and Darber. You'd expect another centre half to be brought in there. Another defender given a deal or extension or the option taken up was Junoy Danasian. On a scale of 1 to very surprised, Kelly, how very surprised were you?
I was probably about, if we're saying 1 to 10, I'd probably say I was about 10 being the most surprised. I'd probably about 6.5, 7. I wasn't overly surprised in terms of shock factor 10, but then part of me was like, it's a business. He's an asset. Cook hasn't seen him. He is a versatile defender. He grew up, I think he started his career as a centre-back. And he's actually very quick. We don't realise he's actually a very quick player as well.
I like him.
It could be a kind of, it's a backup option if he's thinking for right-back spot to compete with Kane or something. Because just to say Paul Cook's got transfers in mind doesn't necessarily mean they're going to sign for us or want to come here or whatever. So, you've always got to have that backup. I think that probably also, we'll talk about it in a bit of detail anyway, but your favourite man there, Aaron Drinan, I think that's a similar situation. And same with Jackson. Drinan's probably more.
Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, that's what. So I wasn't overly surprised there. I do think he's got something to offer, definitely as a squad player. Certainly at this level as well. And like I've said throughout the season as well, and over the last couple of months when we're talking about transfers, the defence area isn't the part I'd be looking at, I need a major overhaul. Because, defensively we've been pretty okay, right? We do need a left back. We do need another centre half. If we had another left back and a centre half and a goalkeeper that can play at their feet, then I'd be quite happy with my defensive side of it going into the next season. It's the creativity. And that's what worries me, is because the creativity now all of a sudden we've offered Guion Edwards a contract apparently. So
Apparently so, yeah. When people talk about fees, Matt, and players that we've signed for fees, Danasian is one I can get behind because he's had a good loan spell by all accounts at Fleetwood, I believe.
Yeah.
Plymouth obviously wanted him in January for a nominal fee. They stayed up. So when you say about players getting 1-year deals off the back of protecting assets, he's a player who I can certainly believe. But he has to go, doesn't he? I mean, like, you can't go into a season with your 2 right backs being Kane, Vincent, Young, who can't stay fit. He's got, he's got that issue, regardless of whether it's unfortunate or not. And Danasian is your 2 right backs. That's a risk. That's a gamble.
Yeah, it is. We did say the shadow of injury is always over KV right now.
It is.
And literally 2 days later, he does get injured in like a most bizarre way. I feel sorry for Danasian because he got bought in for a lot of. It was a weird transfer, wasn't it? Because he came on loan to begin with. Then we suddenly had to shell out $750,000, Callie, didn't we, to keep him?
There was some issue around work permit or something.
Work
I
permit.
remember.
Very odd. It was a very odd transfer. Very strange. And then Lambert comes in and then remembers him from his time at Villa and didn't rate him at all and couldn't wait to get him out the door. But I thought he had some nice little cameos in the Papa John's. I feel like he could be a safe pair of hands for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
The thing I get with Kane, I 100% get that, because there is a quality player there with Kane. You can't deny that. But like you said, Martin, it's staying fit. Now there is some unfortunate injuries. There's issues with our back room as well in terms of our medical department. Maybe that's getting overhauled in the summer. But I do think having JD there is someone that could also play. It's his versatility that he could then slot in at centre back.
He's not a bomber, though, is he? Like in this 4-2-3-1 system, and Louis Fenton says that I don't think Donatian should be loaned out in the first place. And I agree with that. I'm a big Donatian fan, but for me, it's Donatian or Kane Vincent-Young, because they're both, in my world, backups. Because if I'm going to hammer James Norwood, Stephen, I've got to hammer Kane Vincent-Young as well, but if I'm going to hammer Norwood week in, week out about staying fit, it's only fair.
Hi, Stephen.
But I honestly think we'll get a little bit OTT, and even Cruncher is, and I'm surprised really, because it was only not so long back. Because it was only not so long back. Cruncher was saying, "Look, we've all got a headache about the Evans era." Let's be honest now, we're run by businessmen and not clowns. Yeah, these people are looking down that list and going, "Who's worth some money? Let's see who's gone." All the over 30s. Don't talk to me about he's not demolition man. Scooter's gone. Chambers gone.
That's not hard.
Norwood's
who else has gone?
30, mate. Norwood's 30. He's not gone.
Eh?
He's on the contract though. He's on the contract though, so he's not another year on the deal. But Stephen, come on, are you telling me it was really a difficult, sleepless night for Paul Cook last night, trying to decide if Luke Chambers, Cole Hughes, and Freddie Sears should walk, and Emir Hughes? Jesus, Emir Hughes has been seen in the last 6 months.
I was shocked at Emir Hughes. That was a shock.
It looks like there's been a bereavement. Yeah, that's how much balls this took. Yeah, to turn around to someone like Luke Chambers and say, "I'm sorry, mate, your time's up," because that's a business decision. Yeah, it's not an emotional decision. He's took emotion out of it. Fans have got emotionally invested in this. He's took emotion out of it, and the owners have took emotion out of it. They said, "Look, yeah, Drennan might only be worth 10 grand, but we don't know there's an offer on the table. If we don't sign his contract now, even just an extension, let's remember an extension, and offering a new deal are two different things. An extension just to protect your asset, because in 2 weeks' time, people can sign pre-contract agreements, and we get nothing.
Oh, it's not an asset, Steve. Steve, who's paying money for Aaron Drennan? Give me one club in English football is paying money for Aaron Drennan.
Just because you won't, it doesn't mean
Ipswich Town played money for Aaron Drennan.
We couldn't do it. No, Martin, the top and bottom of it is you're looking at it from a fan's perspective who's seen it. There might be a manager who sees him and thinks, I need that sort of player.
They won't do now, will they? They won't do now. My argument, Stephen, is this. If you look at Aaron Drennan as a free transfer, you might see a player that you can take a gamble on. If you see Aaron Drennan that you've got to spend money for, in a world where you've all been telling me for the last 3 months, there's so many players out of contract in the summer, there's going to be so much a bevy of talent on a free, why would I roll the dice on paying 10 quid, let alone 10 grand on Aaron Drennan?
How do we know it's going to be a sale and it's not going to be an exchange? We want your player, we'll offer you some cash in this guy.
Yes.
But how much is Aaron Drennan? But no, that sort of deal is fine when you've got an asset like Caden Jackson who's got a bit of value behind him. What value is the makeshift Drennan going to bring into this?
It depends who you're selling to, doesn't it? If you're selling to a non-league club, say he's identified a good player in non-league that he wants, a good striker in non-league who will get us 30 goals next season. Let's just say, for example, because you're coming on hypotheticals.
Why do you need a makeway in that deal? Why do you need a player to exchange with Nunn Town, for example?
Then he gets a player off their book.
Hey, Colby Bishop from Leamington.
It's not the bottom of it is because we get a player off our books and we don't have to pay as much.
He was going off our books. They've just put him back on the fucking thing.
Was it? That's the point. Was he? Have you seen his contract? Have you seen his contract? Bishop
no.
Bishop's triggered this. We had no choice but to accept Bishop's. How do we know we had no choice?
No, Stephen, let me jump in quickly. Sorry. So Drinnan, we do know for a fact that his contract had expired. The option was with the club. The club had the power in that contract.
Yeah.
But hold on. So there's no it's not Bishop's thing where he's triggered it or whatever. It is a case where the power has been in the club's hand. So the club, Paul Cook, not Mike Ashley because he's not here, but Paul Cook, David O'Leary, Mike O'Leary, have decided that they've decided to offer the contract to Aaron Drinnan. Now, we're going to jump into it now, I guess, but I don't see Drinnan extension as too much of a bad thing. And my reason is, before Martin gives me some bad look or whatever, boots me off the screen, right? I honestly think Drinnan, because he's still young, I think he's been brought for the development side, kept for the development team, right? Because I don't think they rate the youth setup or in terms of the under 23s.
Yeah.
Right. So the under 18s maybe, but your under 18s to seniors a big jump, right? So your under 23s, I think maybe because Drinnan does perform in the 23s, we all know that. But I think maybe with a Drinnan and a Tyree Simpson in the under 23s, a bit more stability. That's where I see Aaron Drinnan, and that's where I think the reasoning behind his contract is to keep him.
Very good point.
For the development team.
I've been saying this for a while. This is a process. Yeah.
I disagree.
This is part one of a 3-part process. Yeah. Part 1 is release players. Part 2 is who we bring in. We will know by who we bring in where the hell Drinnan features in this system. I'm pretty sure
Drinnan's not featuring in your first 11.
Yeah, fucking no.
Drinnan's not going to be in the senior team. Look, I'm happy. Like I said, I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm indifferent, if you like, on Drinnan's contract extension. But I honestly don't see him being in our first team. I think he's there for development. So what we're talking about, the process, because I think we're talking about a lot of players that have been retained. So like your Jacksons, Jackson?
But that makes sense. That makes sense.
To try, yeah, but because you're going to get Jackson out, Drinnan, you're going to keep in your development league and see if there is a player there.
Even if you don't sell Caden Jackson, Matt, let's say you give Caden Jackson this contract and he takes it, and you've got Norwood, Jackson as your 2 strikers. Because when you play a 4-2-3-1, you're only going to bring in one striker anyway, because the second striker coming in is going to go, well, hang on, I'm not going to play, so why am I going to come? So Jackson and Norwood as depth players gives me a whole lot of comfort more than Hawkins and Drinnan. I've seen that story before.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I think Kelly makes a very good point there about Drinnan being because Joe Fez told us from Blue Monday the other day that I think Drinnan scored in every game he'd played in the 23s this season.
It's a crap league.
Exactly, but like Kelly said, maybe he's going to be used as someone who can be to bring through other youth players or something. I don't know. It seems like a good point. But yeah, I feel like, but will Norwood and Jackson want to sit on the bench? Will they want to be depth strikers? Probably not. I don't think Jackson will stay anyway. I think he'll go.
No, I don't think Jackson will go. The simple fact is, the reason why I said it's a process is because we don't know until it's completed. Yeah? Everybody can jump down my throat. Yeah, you can shake your head, Martin, but it's
because I'm not seeing this. Like for the last 3 months, I've been told the team is crap. I agree with that. Not disagreeing with that at all. But when I give you the players we've released, I feel like the Skuse and Chambers is a smokescreen, because if you're all going, oh well, that was a real gut wrenching decision. Cole Skuse has played how many games this year? Luke Chambers has played how many games well this year? That's not a gut wrenching decision, Steve. That's a smokescreen.
Yeah, so you pick the weakest of the 2. Cole Skuse.
All right, sorry, James Wilson. Haven't played for the last 3 months.
Again,
I've played more times.
The weakest.
All right, Emma Hughes.
The weakest of the 4. Let's go for Chambers, who's played the most.
Well, hang on.
He's played more games than anybody else.
No, but Stephen, I think.
Hang on, all right, park it. It's been a fisherman. He's normally got something to say. What are you saying, mate?
How you doing, brother?
Hey, my tribal friend over there. How you doing, boy? All right?
My tribal brother.
Oh, mate, that was funny.
Twitter, mate. Twitter.
I'm still speechless. Well, I'm still speechless over Drinnan. I can't believe that. I think that's an absolute travesty. I really genuinely can't believe why they've kept Drinnan on. That to me is one nail in the coffin for Cook. For me, I'm afraid. I just can't get my head around that one. Jackson again, another one. I wouldn't have kept him. Yeah, I agree with you, Martin. You know, you've got Chambers and Scoos, and they're being like, "Oh, you know, well, that was a hard, tough decision." When it weren't for most of us fans, it was an easy decision. Do you know what I mean? It weren't a hard decision. Let's be fair, lads. It weren't. You know,
it weren't hard. It weren't hard, but it does hit you, man. It's like, fuck, you know.
Have you been on Twitter?
We're all critical of Chambers.
Yeah, but that's Twitter. They react over the little things. They react over the little things.
It's obviously been hard for some folk to get over. My God, there's been a memorial on YouTube.
Yeah, but you're saying Cook separated the business from the personal.
Yes.
In what business world what are those stat line again for Aaron Dunn and Matt? What's the stat line?
What's that, sorry?
Aaron Dunn's stat line, read it to me. What is it again?
Oh, what was it? 22 appearances, 6 starts, 1 goal.
Where's the business sense in that?
I'm not here to justify.
Hold on, Matt, what's the stats for his under 23s?
Yeah, but I'm not here.
Starts, so many goals.
I just heard he scored in every game, I think it was. Yeah.
That's where he is. He's under 23s.
I've woke up a fucking Twilight Zone.
Mention this to Mark tomorrow. I'm not here to justify the business decisions because I'm not making the business decisions. I'm looking at it from a building a team perspective. We would all like all this team gone, yeah? But that's just as dangerous as having a slow process build-up. A good build-up, Paul Cook's Wigan team took 18 months to build. It wasn't happening.
He's got 18 minutes, not 18 months.
He ain't got 18 months here, bro. He ain't got 18 months at all.
This will let me speak and stop jumping down my throat. I know he hasn't got 18 months, but if he gets 30 players out and brings in 30 new ones, he'll be gone in 2. He needs some stability as well as some new faces to bring some fresh blood into the team.
Okay.
You know, and most of these players who are retained will not start. I can guarantee you that. Most will not start.
We've lost the
Steve, I get what you're saying, chap. I kind of, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's on the delay.
I was just saying, I agree to a point with saying, but to me, it's kind of a waste of money having these players sitting in the under 23s when we could be using the money and buying players in and bringing.
How much money do you think we're spending?
You think about the strikers. Strikers we've got what now? Drennan, Chambers, Drennan, Jackson, Norwood, and Hawkins.
Yeah.
I get your point, though, Mike.
Really.
All I want to say is, let's just park this for now, and we can revisit this, once we've done our business, and then
You're not going to do any business, Steve, because you've got 4 strikers under contract now. What striker in God's green earth is going to say, you've got 4 strikers for a one-up system? I'm going to come to your club.
Jackson won't be here.
But he is going to be here because you need a club to come and get him. Like we can all sit here and say, he won't be here. But who's coming to get him?
Listen, do you think they've hold up, Stephen? Do you think they've only just started doing this business now, or Cook's only started doing this list now? He's probably had his list. He's been watching us before he took over the job, right? He's probably had his list. First couple of games he was in, he's had his list ready. He'd be making his right inquiries or whatever. That's my opinion. I think Jackson will be used as a makeshift.
One more point. Why do you think he's trying to negotiate a contract with Edwards? Because there's interest in Edwards, yeah? Edwards does not have an extension. If he had an extension, we'd take that up in a heartbeat. He does not have one. So to keep any money for that asset, we have to extend the contract. So we've no choice but to try and extend his contract because there's people wanting to buy him. So if we want anything for him, we've got to extend his contract and then sell him. It's all business. You can
I will because I just see that for playing 4-2-3-1, and I can't get past the fact, Matt, we've got 4 strikers now under contract, and if I'm Joe Pigott, if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my contract offers on the table, I'm not going to go anywhere near Portman Road now.
Yeah, I do get that point. I can only presume they've kept Drennan on because he's on such small wages. They'll just keep him around. Oh, Mike D made a very good point now. He said, could some of the squad go to one of the other clubs in the Game Changer family? Could Drinnan go off to Phoenix Rising, for example? I don't know. Well,
He
time
could.
will tell. Time will tell. But you do make a good point when you've got 4 or 5 strikers sitting on the books, and you know, is there going to be better options for Joe Pigott? You might think, oh, well, I won't go there.
But if Cookie goes to a new striker and says, "Look, you're going to be my first choice," he'll come.
So then you'll have 6 strikers on the books for one position.
No, he'll just get rid of some. These are not long.
He had the chance to. He's just taken. This is what I can't get my head around. You had the chance to open the door and literally stick your size 9s up their backside and kick them out the door. But instead, you shut the door, locked it, and hidden the key.
He's give this club 12 months to get some money back for these players, or they'll go for nothing. These are not extended terms. This is 12 months to get some money back for Jackson, Danassian, whatever, or we will lose them for nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Some of them I agree with, Matt. But you're not. We're not talking about Danassian here. We're talking about Drinnan. He's got no resale value. Caden Jackson has got, at the moment, very little resale value. Like, surely the chance you're missing up on other players available out of contract isn't worth this hassle of we might try and sell Caden Jackson to Bournemouth for 10p in a bag of Monster Munch.
It'd be nice to hear the reasoning behind it, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to know the reasoning. Why? Yeah.
All right, Steve, as always.
We'll find out in August when we brought players in. And then, you can then turn around and say, well, we should have sold strikers. I mean, if you sold one, you'll be wrong, won't you?
Well, I won't know, because I sat here in the summer about Ollie Hawkins and was told, when you sit here next year and you give him a chance and you're wrong, you'll look silly. Well, fuck, I wasn't silly, was I? Stephen, I love you as always. It's very passionate, my man. It's always passionate. It's always good. I do love you. Let's try and get a bit of realism in this conversation, shall we? Lee Anderson.
God, tell you what, this is the biggest disaster since Line of Duty last episode, wasn't it? What an absolute...
Nothing wrong with Line of Duty last episode. The Brummy did it. He was the mastermind. Big up the Brummies, all right.
Bloody need, isn't it? Just on the... I'll just getting the bits and pieces up on Drinnan. He is contracted till 2022, isn't he? So there seems little point in paying someone up.
No, he was given a deal.
Pardon?
He was out of contract. He was just given a 1-year deal.
It says on here that he was on contract till 2022 on East Anglian Daily Times.
No. He was out of contract today.
That's even worse.
Maybe was it the option they took up?
This is the option. This is the spot on, Mark. This is the option they've taken up.
This is the option because it says that.
Look, why don't focus on Drinnan? There's so many stuff happening. Drinnan. No. Because listen, Drinnan is there for your under 23s in your development. You ain't going to see him in your first team. I'm telling you, right? You ain't going to see him in your first team. You don't always buy players for your first team.
What minute are we in? 34, Matt.
If we don't know by now, you keep it.
You think Drinnan's going
to develop the players, didn't you? On the hope that 1 or 2 of them will come through. Drinnan has shown us now. Drinnan has played enough to know that there is no hope for that guy at championship level when we get promoted next season. That's simple.
Well, you're right.
That's absolutely spot on.
If he's out of contract, then you say thanks very much for all your effort. Off you go. If he's under contract, you would keep him. It's a bit like Jackson. Why have we triggered Jackson if we're not going to keep him?
It's triggered me. I know that much.
Because he's not wanted by Cook because he's not featured, has he? If we've triggered him to try and get some money for him, what happens if nobody bloody wants him? That means we've got a whole year of
That's why I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. There must be deals in the background, or there must have been interest or something already happening. Because I don't think the people like Paul Cook and Mike O'Leary and the rest of them are that silly to be like, we're just going to trigger it like it's FIFA or something. Because then you're left with a load of players. Then you get a squad full of 56 players again.
Yeah.
I sort of get that within contract players, but if Jackson, right, if you, as you say, if you trigger his deal. Why would Jackson do that if he's got offers from other clubs? Because if he commands a fee of say $750,000, he could go and get a signing on fee. He could go get half of that as a signing on fee and go to the club for free. So I can't see where Jackson would sign the extension if he had a club to go to. because his agent would work.
Is it a club option though? Is it a club option?
It's a club option.
Yeah,
It's
see,
not,
he's out.
it's not player option. There's
Yeah.
no. There's
It's
no.
just
This is.
really.
It's just you're now contracted. Your contract terms change. There is no player power there.
So
It's
if no one
entirely
buys
different.
him, but if no one buys him, we've got a player that if nobody buys him, we've got a player that we don't want to use. He doesn't fit the system. If he did, Cook would have used him. He's not good enough.
Yeah.
Then we're going to pay his wages for a year. That just seems. And our squad is just not reduced in size at all, really, has it? I mean, there's no one on that list. There's nobody on that list of released players that stands out and goes, "Oh, crikey!"
It does seem a risk.
Going to go, didn't we? But I do.
No,
take
Nidam was a bit of a shock. I'll be honest.
Not really.
I thought he'd stay. I thought he'd stay. And
Really?
Guion Edwards being offered a contract was a shock. I didn't think he'd be offered one.
Well, they're trying to offer
There
him
could
one,
be
aren't
another.
they,
There could be another. There could be another reason why these players are kept on. You know, we don't know. We know Norwood's got an injury issue. His hamstring's playing up all the damn time. It could be that, like you said, you know, if you look at Drennan and Hawkins, they are quite similar in the fact that they're good in the air, right? That's all they've got really. It's about they're good in the air. Drennan chase things down. That's about it. But you know, so maybe we're bringing in the players that can play off them. I don't know, play more League One style, a bit long ball, sort of, or long passes. Some people call it these days. And you know, maybe that's a thought behind Cook's process. You know, I don't know. I think there's, you know, look. Norwood played a bit part this season, still managed to score 10 goals. We need another player like him to come in to score another 10, 15, 20 goals. We need midfield players to come in and score goals and start putting balls in the back of the net. And, you know, I quite like the fact that Donasian is staying, if I'm honest. He's played well as right back for Peterborough, for Fleetwood. And I think, you know, Fleetwood, sorry. And I think, you know, it's probably a good cover for KVY. You know,
Cover for him, mate. Mate, you can't stay. KVY can't stay fit. That's just our number one right back.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying. I agree with you, Martin. I do, honest. I do agree with you. I do feel that this Drennan thing is certainly the first nail in Paul Cook's coffin. I am concerned. I'm worried about it, to be honest. And it's only the first day in the new era, and I'm already worried. Are we reading too much of it? Are we stressing too much over it?
Yes.
Look, I think we need to give it. Another month or two to see where we are with what comes in and what goes out. We don't know really what goes behind the scenes. We are getting stressed, but I'm more annoyed about Drennan. I think he'd struggle to get in a Sunday League side, if I'm brutally honest. But you know,
and thing is, it's not a panic. What it is I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this squad list, and I'm still seeing, Lee, no room for manoeuvre. You can have all the money in the world, but the player needs to know there's a pathway into the first team when they arrive. And I'm looking at the list, and I'm thinking, well, if you look at our squad list, you're only looking really at a left winger, because you've got, well, maybe a left back. You've got Kenlock as a left winger at the moment. You've got Enciala, Wolverhampton, and Derby, your three centre halves. Vincent Young and Donashin, your right backs. You've got no left winger currently really on the books. And you've got Dazelle, Downs, Nolan midfield. So if you're a midfielder, I don't think I'm going to walk in. And Downs may have handed a transfer request. But he may or may not have done something or not. We don't know. This is what we've been doing with. Lancaster, Dobra, right wing. So again, maybe a right winger. And El Mizani, Bishop, a second midfielder. Like, we were told the squad would reduce in size, but can you see anything for Cook there to really manoeuvre with transfer wise at this early stage?
Well, what have we released? We've released 2, 4, 6. We've released 8 players, haven't we?
Yeah.
So that's not enough, is it? Because you would hope to think you're going to bring maybe 6 in, you know, at a push maybe, which means you still got to get rid of another 6 out of the lot that you've just mentioned. I mean, I think Stephen's point that he was trying to make about it being done in phases, I think what he was trying to, well, my interpretation is that, you know, see who they do bring in, because what it might mean that others will go out on loan. It might mean that, you know, El Mazzurni again, people like McGavin, Crow, you know, Lancaster, they all might go out, which means you would reduce your squad size. So if they all went out on loan, you get your youngsters out on loan, and then you use your under 18s in your under 23s, step them up. And then what you would end up with is you'd bring players in to replace the players that you put out on loan. That's the way I would see an answer to that question. That's the only thing I can see he can do.
But look, you know the thing with the transfer stuff, right? And bringing players in, it's not just a focus on who's the out of contract players and okay, these are the ones we're keeping, so there's no changes. There's transfer fees, there's transfers that happen. I honestly think you will see over the next week or so a lot of players be signed for other teams. They'll be sold. I think you'll see a lot of players getting sold, right? Being sold or mutual terminations or whatever it may be.
Who?
I think what do you mean who?
Who? I mean who? Because I think.
Do you want me to? I think Downs. I think I'll agree with Downs. I don't think Downs will be here at the beginning of the season. I don't think Jackson will be here at the beginning of the season. I don't think Wolfenden will be here at the beginning of the season. I don't think.
But we're left with a squad of Hawkins and Drennan. Oh, brilliant! What a great year to the shape.
I don't think Hawkins will be here at the beginning of the season. I'm telling you, you'll have a lot of. Yeah. There'll be a lot of.
You've just sold my best players of a team that's already been shite.
And listen, I even don't think, despite his contract being extended, I don't think Teddy Bishop will be here next season.
I think what's
bit of good news at last.
For me, I think what's really happened, or what's missing from the communication is sometimes you get, so and so players have been told that they can leave, they can find themselves a new club, so they go on the transfer list. We haven't really got the old-fashioned transfer list, have we? Because if we had a transfer list, you would have Hawkins on that transfer list. For me, I'd have Hawkins on that.
Well, go for the squad.
I'd put one of the goalkeepers on the transfer.
You have them all on the list.
The goalkeepers go on the transfer list. But we haven't got that, have we? So it's difficult. So I think that's the bit that's missing for me. And as you say, time will tell who we bring in, because this contradicts everything that Cook has said over the last 8 weeks. He's chucked them under the bus nearly every week. He said they're not good enough. He would drive them to wherever he was going to drive. He would leave them in Accrington or wherever he was going to leave them. And that doesn't seem to all add up, does it? To what he's
don't forget what Ryan says here. All these fragile mentalities, and they're all still knocking around.
But this is where we're focusing on just these players.
Because you've got to deal with the here and the now, Callie. This is you can't deal with. Well, in 2 weeks' time, James Norris will be sold to Aberdeen for £4.5 million. We're going to spend on a striker.
I think
we have to deal with the here and the now, and the here and the now is for me.
So do we know? Paul Cook's had his meeting today. Paul Cook's had his meetings with the players today, and that's where he's told them you're on the transfer list. Those players that are on the transfer list are making those calls today. They're speaking to their agents. They're looking at other clubs.
That's fine, but I'm not dealing with the transfer list. I'm dealing with the players that are out of contract, and I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed because I've watched this team week in, week out being consistently and constantly rubbish. And today you've kept most of them, if not all of them. I'm sorry, I'm still not buying. If Luke Chambers, Cole Skewes, Freddie Sears, Emir Hughes, James Wilson, Tristan Nyden was a gut-wrenching sit down for half an hour to 45 minutes and really have a cup of coffee and think about it situation. I could have done that in 5 seconds. You could have done it in 5 seconds. Lee could have done it in 3.5. He's that good.
It's not a big bang process, though, is it?
Out of contract, it is.
Fairness,
Are you good enough? No. Bye-bye. There's the door. Don't close it.
Sorry,
we could have all predicted that, couldn't we? With Chambers and Skewes and that, we could have all predicted that. In fact, I think most of us would have probably put silly money on them happening. And I think, including in that, we would have all considered putting money on Drennan going out the door. And I think that's the biggest. That is the biggest shock for me. That Paul Cook considers Drennan a player of the future for this club.
Don't start me again. I've just calmed down off that one. Don't start me up again.
I can't get my head around it. That's the bit I can't get my head around. I just think, why Drennan? He offers nothing. I don't care what he does in the under-23s. All I care about is what he does, what players do in that first team when we're playing to get promoted out of League One back into the Championship so we can then progress to hopefully try and get back into the Premiership.
It's a Gillingham
And when
move,
we've got
Mike.
players like Drinnan being kept on, and you think, are you real? And that's why I say I think that's the first nail in Cook's coffin, because if that's the best if he thinks of Drinnan as something for our future, then I'm seriously concerned about Cook's. You know.
Yep.
Do you think that would have been different? Do you think
Mike,
that would have been
appreciate
different?
it, buddy.
Do you think that would have been different had we gone up this year? Do you think people like some of the renewal of the contract, we would have just ditched them? Because I think we're in a bit of a sort of catch-22, aren't we? Because had we gone up, we would have been buying championship players. We'd have had to do one bid or one session to get a load of players in to go for the top of the championship. Now we've got a two-tier process. We've got to get out of League One. You're not going to get out of League One, or you're not going to purchase top-rate championship players to get you out of League One, are you? Because they're just not going to come.
But let's be honest, they all were bad. So it had people keep saying, such as Emerson, we can't clear everyone out until new signings are made. But then you've left no room for the new signings because you've signed the dross that got you to 9th place, 11th place the year before. And I just look at this list of players that are in contract, and I just thought, do you know what? There's 14 players there, Matt. You could have built a squad from that 14 and could have released every single player out of contract and not even noticed they'd gone.
Yeah. I mean, I can only presume, like we sort of like Kelly's made the point about drilling 23s. Have they kept him on so it's going to be a loan to sign? I just feel like, I don't know, it's weird. I mean, McCarthy took a punt on Drilling, didn't he? That's how he came to the club. Oh, we saw that guy playing in Ireland. We'll just take a punt on him. He's still here.
The thing is, I feel Drilling's getting the hard stick of it because I don't rate him as a player. But to be honest with you, again, it could be we could be saying here about any one of those players. I'm not quite sure why they're in talks with Edwards, for example. He's done nothing this year apart from 10 minutes at the start of the year. He's done nothing since he arrived from Peterborough. Again, you could say, well, they might want to sign him, then sell him. But again, as Lee rightfully said, if you're Edwards, why would you do that? Why would you? He did have a good start to the season. Yeah, I mean, Darragh told us on the pod, didn't he, that he thought Edwards was really a middle to bottom tier championship player. So you have to think someone of that ilk might come in for him. I don't know. I think what we see at the moment, like Callie was saying, you're just seeing a moment in time right now. There's context around all of this. That, like I said earlier, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I think a lot of these still won't be. I still think Peterborough could come in for Jackson. I still think Huddersfield could come in for Jackson.
All right. I honestly think there's been, I've got faith or hope or whatever you want to call it, that our owners and Mike O'Leary and Paul Cook have been doing negotiations or whatever. Because while Paul Cook ain't been coming out for press conferences, I'm hoping he's on the phone to agents and saying, this player's who I want. I've got this player. Let me trade. Let me do this. Here's another 100 grand, 200 grand, whatever. I'm hoping he can use some of the players you kept on that retained list. Half of them won't be here next season, and half of them will be used. They'll either be used with the transfer fees to someone else, or we'll do a swap somewhere, or whatever. I honestly don't think you'll see that same 11 that you saw on Sunday. You'll probably see 2 or 3 players in that squad.
MW, can't believe folks are agitated about a keep list that is mainly the problem is MW, the whole squad, you could argue, was squad fill. And you've not left any room, Kurt, to bring anything else in just yet. We can all say James Norwood, whoever could be sold. But right now, you've still got 20 odd players on out of a squad that he only wants 25 in.
You just gotta relax. Take it easy. We're a day. Honestly, I mean,
they have changed. This was filled as.
I know, but
what's changed?
You've got to look at it. I mean, we
ain't got a captain or vice captain. That's what's changed.
And that all year.
But what I'm saying is, we're saying that Frank is still in the club, but let's face it, I'm not being funny. I think I might earn more than does. So if he's there to not our squad, but if he's there to fill the development squad, so be it. He's not going to touch that first team, and I highly doubt he's touching all the types of wages that hopefully we'll offer to the people who we do want filling our first team. It's one of them. Teddy Bishop, I said on Twitter earlier, he wouldn't have got. Yeah, in my opinion, he wouldn't have got a contract had he not already triggered his appearance clause. There's no chance in hell would he have got a contract. And I saw someone say Cook. I think Cook likes him. Well, Cook likes him. Why didn't he bring the game Bishop on the other day when he had an option to bring 5 subs on? He didn't bring on 1. So clearly he doesn't like him that much to not even bring on the big game changer Bishop. So let's just relax about Bishop. Like Callie says, Bishop will be here. I think Drennan, if he is here, he won't touch the first team. He'll be filling up like development space. In terms of Hawkins, I mean, yeah, if he's a bench option. Yeah, on bench. I remember at Portsmouth, they used him at centre half. They used him at centre half a lot of the time. And if he's an option there,
maybe that's our centre back. Maybe that's our centre back right there.
Well, I'm saying converting, but I'm saying like if he's an option to maybe have on the bench, not as a striker, but have him as a big man who can come on in die moments, trying to drag out and whack him on.
Say, is Hawkins the new Richard Naylor? Is he new Bam Bam?
It's big shoe.
Dear me, Charlie, steady on.
I just wonder how much. John Warren just made the point in the comments. I do wonder how much he's actually going to go on until Ashton gets here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's one of them. This squad now is not going to be it. I mean, from certain people who've not even been in the match 18 have now been freed up. Hughes will have been a big. He will be a big earner, and I mean, I don't want to say anything, but hasn't. How many times has he been in the squad since Cooks took over? And this is Jack Lancaster, and I think he's only got a year left. And from what I'm hearing online, which you can't trust him, is that he's having his contract paid up.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Like, I mean, these are wages being freed up. I mean, it'll be mutual termination, so they won't be paying up the whole contract. They'll be agreeing a fee in there and then binning them off. It's for them. Unfortunately. Whilst like you said, Martin, earlier, you could argue that this whole team was squad filler. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of the whole team because unfortunately we saw when Hurst tried to get rid of all of our big boys and then recruit all the lower league talent. It didn't work. We were awful then, and whether it be bad management, bad players, the whole club was rotten from top to bottom. We're now in the state that we are. We're a mid-table League One club with average League One players, possibly shouldn't even be in this league. So we've got to take as we are. We've got to take our medicine at the moment and just wait the next few weeks out. Let's face it. I mean, I know you said, Martin, you've got to want clubs to come in for these players, but I'm not being funny. But if Huddersfield and Bournemouth wanted a 1-goal Jackson in League One, I can guarantee now that someone wanted a 0-point Jackson in summer. There will always be someone wanting one of your players. I mean, I'm not. I didn't like Nunn when he was here. I didn't like Nunn. I really thought his piss poor throw-ins were about the only thing he could ever offer. And he scored against Norwich. But I thought, in terms of what we've had as left back, he was probably shite in my opinion. But it's one of them. We've got to accept that we're not going to get what we want. We all want a clean sweep of players, which I know Rich would have put everyone in the bin, but it was never going to happen.
Don't worry.
What will
don't
happen
give him the link. Don't give Crunch a link.
He's already here. I just got to bring him in a minute.
He's on the doorstep, knocking at the door.
Those who
ringing the bell.
Else has been.
Kurt, it's just breaking up a little bit. I can get a few comments. Just give me a second. Stephen Parry, we're linked to players with an extension. We have no idea who is linked to ours. Simon Clark, Cook banged on for weeks about how bad the bunch were and has kept on some very questionable players. He has a lot to do to show us how good he is. I'm not convinced at the moment. I think, actually, Simon, that's a very good point. I think that probably sums up in more articulate ways than I can how I feel. Because otherwise we should be talking about playoffs next week. If they're all as good as, I'm just saying. Sarah John, bring on the cruncher. All right, Lee, I love you. Appreciate you.
Cheers, guys.
Look after
Cheers,
yourself. Sorry.
But here he is, look.
See no evil. So if it's
Cruncher's
see no
knocking at the
evil, hear
door.
no evil, speak no
Cruncher's
evil.
ringing. Well, Cruncher, send that 2-ton Claydon skip higher back.
Unbelievable. What is going on?
Talk to me. What do you think's going on?
The squad is massive still. The squad is massive. What is happening?
Well, apparently Jackson's going to Bournemouth next week for $1.5 million. Jordan's going to Air United for $2.5 million, and I'm going to be
4 million. 4 million.
I do apologise. $4 million.
Teddy Bishop, who's underperformed since God knows when.
He'll go.
Will Edwards, who's still living on a flick against Blackburn.
Good flick though.
That was a good flick.
Brilliant flick though.
That was a good
And
flick.
did he score the header in that? Didn't he score the header in that game?
Yeah, he did.
Freddie Sears cross.
Fucking hell.
Halcyon days.
Cruncher, come on, give us some, man.
I'm just underwhelmed. I'm massively underwhelmed because all them players, like you were saying, Chambers, your Scoosh, your Sears, your Hughes, we all knew they were going. No hard decisions have been made, have they, really? Let's be fair. James Wilson, we knew he'd go.
How did he get player of the year? And he played 17 games.
Matt, there were 48 players who were voted on in the player of the year. So that shows that it's been distinctly average. And it's, I don't know. I'm not at the point where Mike's worried and he says it's a nail in Cook's coffin. And I agree with Kurt, we've all got to calm down a little bit. But when I heard Kieran Dyer saying that the players are fragile, last week, and we fucking kept most of them. They're still at the club.
For now.
Yeah, I know for now, Matt. And we look, it is only day one.
It's a great crunch. Richard's Jules. We all knew Drennan was going until a few hours ago.
But to be fair, I read the comment there, and I think they're right. Ryan, put Ryan's comment up. Ryan,
I think that Drennan goal in the 1-year contract.
It's a great tackle.
I'm sure it was a clause. I'm sure there was a clause in his contract about a goal. So,
if his agent is that good grief, that's some impressive stuff. My struggle got 1 goal, guaranteed contract extension.
You think he's staying for the under-23s, Callie?
I reckon so. I can't see him being. Sorry, hold on. I can't see him being used at senior level, right? I think we have to have better ambitions or better performances, obviously, than we have had this season. Drennan hasn't done it this season, so I don't think he'll do it next season. He is still young enough to learn something. I think it'll be a stopgap in the under-23s. I don't think Cook rates the under-23s, right, in terms of at the level that we think they are. I think there'll be an exodus of under-23 players going as well. I think some of these players like Drennan are going to be used as stopgaps there. And possibly, you then got a wild card of maybe you can attract, a loan this player here and to one club so you can buy another player and loan Drennan in the other direction or give him in the other direction. That's what I think you're going to see a lot of these players. Half of those players on the retained list, they'll be gone. Right, I don't see half of them.
Martin, is Drennan 23? 24?
22.
22, isn't he?
What are we hoping? We're hoping all of a sudden he's going to find himself.
No, they're calling him to sofa score.
I don't think he's going to make first team like here, right? I don't. It's the system, maybe. He has had. To be fair to me, he has had glimpses where he looks okay, but he does show stuff where maybe he's just been a bit raw, or just he needs to learn the game a bit more.
Not good enough. He's simply not good enough.
But to put it into context,
development league, he is
one at a time. Look at that Toto shirt, look, you little name dropper. I just noticed that.
To put it into context, though.
Hey.
To put it into context, we are still competing in the what was it Papa John's Trophy. We are still competing in that. Now, for example, do you want to play? Do you want to play? Let's say we get Colby Bishop in from Aki. Do you want to play him in your Papa John's Trophy and someone hacks him down from his knee and then takes him out for a couple months or whatever? Do you want to risk him getting injured, or do you want your backup striker to take his place in a meaningless competition? Because I don't care if we win.
Okay, what formation we plan? What formation we plan? 4-2-3-1.
What in general for next season?
No, just in that scenario you're doing. Is it a 4-2-3-1 we play week in, week out? Is it a 4-4-2? What is it?
Well, it's the manager's choice, isn't it? So you'd have to play his usual formation continuously.
Okay. So which backup striker do you want? Norwood, Hawkins, Jackson, or Drinnan to play in that role? Because even if you'd lost Drinnan from that list, you still had Norwood, Hawkins, and Jackson that could play in that game that you're talking about there. Like, I get the argument; it's a great argument.
Yeah,
but
I'd probably have Jackson if he was here, because I mean,
he's going to be here.
I don't think he will be. I don't think
Caden Jackson's going to be wanting to be backup striker in a Papa John's, is he really? But look, I know what you're saying, Kurt, about you don't want your players getting injured, but I think that's another thing we need to take more seriously next season. Is the cup competition? We need to get a winning
but not the Papa John's.
Hey?
But not the Papa John's trophy.
Come
Why
on,
not?
Come on, we want to go to Wembley. It's Wembley.
That's where I want my development team. That's where I want my young players getting the experience. If we want to take the cup competition serious, let's go the Carling Cup run. Let's do an FA Cup run, right? That's what I want to do serious. That's what I want my first 11.
Culture is what we need to bring.
But I want my first 11 on those cup runs. I want a chance for my development squad to come in at the Papa John's and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, legacy base. I wouldn't play Drinnan in the Papa John. We'd lose. Kurt, I love you. Kurt, on a scale of underwhelmed to, yep, this is exactly where I thought we'd be after today. Where are you on that?
Yeah, exactly where I thought we'd be.
You're a great liar. I do love you. You're a fantastic liar. You seriously thought we'd be here? Oh, he's just gone. Colin, on a scale of
Colin,
how do you feel?
Oh, like I put earlier on, I first of all, I came home off my run. I thought, all right, have a look at my phone. Richard sent me a couple of photos of what had happened, so to speak. And to be honest with you, I thought he was winding me up. I read it and I thought to myself, am I actually reading this right? You know what I mean? But what do I think? Well, like I put on the chat a little while ago, or say quite a while ago, gobsmacked, totally gobsmacked. I just cannot believe what's happened today. All I can do is just agree with everybody else. I mean, I can't do anything but. Somebody said earlier on, I just can't remember who it was. Are we going to have like a whole show about Drinnan? You know, and I get that, but we've got to say, what on earth?
Can I just add something there? At least Martin will get a bit of value out of that poster, won't he, next season?
Yeah, yeah, you're right there, Rick.
Where is it? Where is it hiding? Because I've not seen it for a long time.
Well, I'll be honest. It's in the waste paper recyclable bin, ready to go out to the bin tomorrow. Because I thought today was the last time I was going to need it.
You better go grab that quickly.
I will.
Get back.
I got a text earlier from one of my sons, and to be perfectly honest with you, I couldn't agree more. He texted me. The first line was, "We get rid of Judge, we keep Drinnan."
Yeah, I was thinking that, Colin. Yeah.
You know, and to be honest with you, I know, you know, like me, Rich, everybody else, you know, we've all got our opinions. Some of us are a little bit more opinionated than others. I get that, right? But I absolutely agree with that. I mean, Alan Judge, okay, you know.
Alan Judge is 32, mate.
He had one or two issues during the year, bless him. But I'll tell you something, it was actually starting to come quite good. You know,
I'd have kept him over a Bishop or an Edwards. I'd have kept Judge. You'd have got more out of him.
Yeah.
And then...
Absolutely, Rich. I couldn't agree more.
How old was Alan Judge? How old is he? 32,
Get another year, Callie. Teddy Bishop, how many games will he play? Let's see if he stays fit for a start. I know this season he has a lot of the time. He's played probably more games this season than he's played in the last 5 years. But still, I'd have kept...
Bish ain't going to be here. Bish ain't going to be here next season.
I looked at it like this.
I'm not in the know. I'm not in the know. I'm just thinking. I'm speculating.
No, you know nothing.
I don't know nothing.
Kelly, I agree with you about his age. But what we're trying to do here, big time, because no way in the world do we want a fourth season in this Dross League. We're trying, Kelly, to get out of this league. And if that meant keeping Judge at 32 or whatever old he is, for another one season to get out of this league, I'd have done that all day long against Drennan and Hawkins. All day long.
How old are you, Colin? Colin, how old are you? Do you mind me asking? How old are you?
I'm 64.
I'd keep Alan Judge at 64 over Aaron Drennan at 22.
Colin, I get what you're saying, yeah. But the only thing I'll say is, it's a whole process, right? It's not all going to be resolved on day one. There's going to be, you wait till you see the 11, what the 11 will be, or the 18 or whatever, or even the 25-man squad that we have on the first day of the season. You're going to come back to this and say, you know what, Alan Judge wouldn't have got near the team. No disrespect to Judge, because I think certainly over this calendar year, he's probably the most improved player. But like, you're going to look at these players and be like, actually, you know what, so what, it didn't matter. It doesn't need that. Because I honestly think there's a process.
Stop it on there. I see him about Waggy.
I think, yeah.
Callie's best mate, Waggy. He'd love Callie. He'd love him, wouldn't he? He'd love Waggy back, wouldn't he, Callie?
The thing is, I don't disagree that Alan Judge should have left. That's right. That's the right move. I don't know why I'm not discussing everyone. Oh my God, everyone's gone. That's a total non-shock to anybody. Like, why is anybody staying?
Gov, can I just say that this bloke who's just above my head, Mr. Mills, right? Just above my head here, Mr. Mills. I would absolutely have loved to heard what he would have said today when he first found out.
Well,
about I'd love to have known his opinion.
Yeah. Well, what can you say on that? What can you say on that? Dominic says, let's sign Colin. Best signing all summer for Cook. Stephen agree. If you don't get Alan, Owen Dow, Judge won't get a look in. Lewis, that's what was a great. It was a great realist though. New board game, Waggy and Ladders. Sergio,
yes. Fucking Snake, hate him, man. Prick. Right? No. I'll clear it up now, right? Waghorn, great player. For us, he did a job, right? Not a great player now, right? But he did a job. He could probably do a job for us now in League One, possibly. But when you leave, no problem with you leaving to earn more money, whatever, absolutely fine. But when you leave and say Ipswich is just a stepping stone, it's a small club, fuck you, man. That's all. Excuse my French, but that's my feeling on him.
People wonder why we're the working man.
He'll probably end up back at Sunderland, I reckon. That'd be my bet.
Andrew, man, why do we think we're going to have such a good team next year? Is 2 good teams coming down, 3 teams will left the playoffs? We've got the ace in the hole.
Who are the 2 good teams coming down?
We've got Aaron Drennan, Paul Copland. What's the carb tomorrow? Do you think
next year?
Who?
We'll see. We'll see.
Possibly. Let's quickly move on to.
They know how to get out the league. That's true.
Skuse and Chambers. First of all, Cole Skuse. That was the surprise to nobody. What do you think about Cole Skuse, Cruncher?
Look, he's been a loyal servant. I think we can't say he was a great player. Him and Chambers are an example to a lot of people how they look after themselves, how they carry themselves on and off the pitch. But what did he play? 4 games this season. We did say, Matt, we wouldn't have kept him this season. We said, didn't we, when we done the traffic lights last season? So he's gone. And look, he had to go, didn't he? Where's he going to go? Probably go to Colchester or somewhere like that. Look, he's had a decent career, Bristol City and Town, 270 odd games for us, and he done his job when he was in the team, didn't he? He wasn't an outstanding player, but he done that work in front of the back forward screening, and you got Dazelle, who's been playing there.
Fair point. Kelly, what about you?
No surprise. Like Rich summed it up perfectly there. Same, loyal servant to the club, done what he needs to do. But I think for him, if he wants to play week in, week out, and for the ambitions that we got to have, he's not going to be a starter or squad player.
No.
So he'll probably, I don't think he'll be in, Cambridge or something is his level, maybe a Colchester. He could be a starter in a League Two team perfectly fine. Possibly one of the League Two teams coming up now, like your Morecambes or Boltons or.
Not going to go. Him and Chambers, they're settled in the area. I don't think they're going to be moving like to go to Morecambe.
So it'll be Cambridge. It'll be Cambridge or Colchester. Won't it?
You know,
a lot of dogs around tonight.
Oh, no. Who let the dogs out?
Frightened the life out of me. I was not expecting that. Sam wasn't expecting some of the retained list today. I think Excuse might retire. I think he's settled. He's happy at St Joseph's.
Yeah,
I think he might just.
He's 35. He's 35. He's done nearly 300 appearances for Ipswich. He's done his time.
Bad knee.
At the end of the day, it's the right move for everybody. It's probably the right move for him because he's not going to play to the level he's used to over his career at Bristol City and Ipswich, and it's the right move for us because he's not going to cut it in the Cook team. So,
Luke Chambers, then Colin, what has Captain Luke Chambers meant or represented, or are you sad to see him go? How are you feeling?
Just give me a couple of seconds. First and foremost, he's been, it's got to be said because it's true. He's been a good club servant. Was it 400 games?
300.
Yeah,
400.
I think, 300 and something.
397.
Whatever. I've made about 400 appearances. But I think what I have to say about him is, yes, like I say, he's been a good club servant, not too bad a player, if I'm honest, especially in the early days. Obviously got slower, like we all do as we get older. Needs to drop down a level. There's no doubt about that whatsoever, in my opinion. But good luck to him. Good luck to his family. But at the end of the day, this last couple of years, I've got to say, without trying to be too harsh, he has been leading a bunch of losers. I'm not going to change my opinion about that because that's true. He's been leading a bunch of losers. And he's led us into a position that we find ourselves in right now. And so like I say, I wish him no ill feelings whatsoever. If he goes to Colchester, fine. Good luck playing beside the A12. I'm sure that'll be lovely. Good luck to the boy. I just hope you don't go to Cambridge and notch one against us next year. But as regards Cole Scoos, again, good luck to him. He's been a good club servant, obviously the same as Luke. And again, he's gone past his sell-by date, and everybody comes to that. Whether you're Cole Scoos or George Burley, Kevin Beattie, God rest his soul, or whoever, you all come to that day where it's all over. And unfortunately for Cole, it's all over. I hope him all the best if he does pursue his career at St Joseph's, and the very best of luck to him. And I mean that, and I think all fans would say that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Callie, how about yourself about Luke Chambers?
I think he's been a good leader. I know there's this whole relegation team and all the rest of it, and he can't help who the manager brings in, who the chairman brings in, and under the Evans regime or whatever, he can only try and lead the team out or whatever. I think if you look at what he's done for the club in terms of longevity, is that the right word? I don't know, but longevity or whatever in terms of being there, he's been there 9 years. Before Chambers, I can't think of a player there that was there, having that long-serving team. He is Mr. Ipswich. Ipswich means as much to him as any one of us. So I don't know how he's feeling right now, but he is a professional, and I honestly still feel that he's got something to offer. We've obviously got higher ambitions to go up or whatever. I would personally love to see him at Cambridge if he wants to stay local. Because I think he could do a job at League One. I think he's proved that this season, a few shaky performances, but he's not been, you know, absolutely terrible. He's had a few good games, and he scored a goal of the season anyway. But you know, he is Mr. Ipswich. He's going to be someone that we have to bring in a captain now. And just like, you know, that video they put out earlier or whatever, that got in my feels a little, man. I was like, fuck, you know, I need to see a fist pump. I do think we need to do a joint testimonial or something. I would have loved an ideal scenario for there to have been a deal ready where Chambers goes to Cambridge after the first game of the season, just so we could play one more game or whatever, or have the fans back for Sunday or whatever. But a testimonial would do that, you know, have a testimonial with him and Scoos, a joint testimonial, but it's the very least they deserve.
I do agree with you there, Callie, 100%. I do agree that especially Luke Chambers, he absolutely deserves a testimony. I remember, obviously, the great side, and I mean, I think out of the great side, the 81 side we were talking about the other night, I think it was about 7, 8, 9 of those of that first team, if you want to call it that, who regularly played in that first 11. So 8 or 9 of those had testimonials, you know. 8 or 9 of those went over 10 years, which was a complete tribute to that team and squad. But I totally agree with you, Kelly. He doesn't come in the realms of those players, nowhere near, but he absolutely deserves a testimonial.
I think
There's no doubt about that. Sorry,
I was just going to say one more thing. That the one thing that is not upsetting or whatever, it's like it's a bit of a shame or whatever, is he's never. I always wanted him to either take us up last season, or if we'd have gone up this season or whatever with him, or was it 2015? If Evans had spent a bit of dollar, he could have taken us up to the Premier League. It's a shame that he hasn't got anything to really show that, like, you know, when we look back, like you do, Colin, now, Mick Mills and people like that, you talk about people that have won it and done like this. You don't necessarily talk about the captains that haven't won the things. And I don't want Luke Chambers to be, you know, sounds soppy, but I don't want him to be forgotten by fans in 20, 30 years' time, because I do think he's an important part of this club. So
I think, sadly, in 10 years' time, he'll always be the poster child for Marcus Evans and the Marcus Evans era, and what the era stood for, and what it didn't. And, you know, he was a player that also was Forest about to sign before McCarthy pulled the plug on the deal, if I remember rightly. So, you know, loyalty, absolutely. But, like, he's a football player, and I wish him nothing but the best moving forward. Matthew, very quickly. Freddie Sears, Matthew.
Freddie, I feel sorry for Freddie. He's probably the victim of being a utility player, wasn't he? McCarthy played him left, right, and centre, didn't he? And at the end of the day, I think he probably confused him so much he didn't know what his best position was anymore. So I do feel sorry for him, because when he did come in from Colchester on the back of a run where he'd scored 12 goals, wherever it was, when we signed him, he looked red hot. He looked really good. I always remember that game against Birmingham. Was it 4-2? We beat him midweek. And he looked a really good player. So I do feel sorry for him a little bit. I mean, I don't think he's ever recovered from that. What was it, 36, 38 games we didn't score? Again, look, Ipswich has been good to him. He's had a good career, Freddie. He's playing in the Premier League for West Ham. He's earned a good living at Ipswich. We move on. You know, Sergio Ramos is going to probably leave Real Madrid. They said goodbye to Raul. People say goodbye.
There's our centre back, Sergio Ramos. You heard it here
I can't
first.
talk about Freddie, because if I talk about Freddie, I'll go back to somebody I've been talking about all night, and I can't do that, because how we've kept one and not the other, or why we've kept one and not the other. Or
I mean, that was good. That was good recruitment, wasn't it? When we got Sears in, we talk about bringing players in. You know, he took a step back from West Ham. He's gone down a few leagues to Colchester. Then he got his mojo back, and he come to Ipswich, and they're probably the kind of players Cook is going to be looking at. Maybe players that were in the Premier League or Championship, step back into League Two, got a bit of momentum, hungry for success, and bring them in.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got left on the list very quickly, James Wilson, Crunch, your mate Wilson.
Look, he done what he said on the team.
Games.
When he came in, he was probably he wasn't going to play a lot, was he? Then Toto got injured last season, pre-season. Look, unspectacular, Martin. He's a League One defender. What is he? 31 now. It's a bit embarrassing when you've got someone who's played 18 games and they get Player of the Year. But him and Toto were probably our two best centre backs, weren't they? The partnership they played. You probably look at the stats. So look, he done all right, didn't he? But I think now's the time. You were only going to keep one of them, Toto or Wilson. Toto's probably, he's a little bit younger. So look, James Wilson, he'll probably go. He'd be another one. Good signing for Cambridge in this league. You know, he'd do a decent job. And look, getting back to Chambers, always remember the Norwich, the two away games, the season, the playoff season, and then the first time after. I remember when we lost 2-0 when he came over, pointing at the badge, and basically saying, "Forget about them. See you next Tuesdays over there. Stick with us." And then after the playoff game at Carrow Road, when they had the worst pitch invasion in history because it was real tin pot, wasn't it? And he came over through the police, and it was like he empathised everything about the McCarthy era, I think. And look, 345 games as captain, we can all come on here and say he's not the best footballer. 5 managers, I think, he was captain under at Town, and you've got to understand that probably 70% of that he played out of position. He played at right back because he always suffered through Christoph Berra and Tommy Smith. Mick was always going to play them too, wasn't he? So Chambers was always the one who got shifted out there. And look, not a great player, great servant, and we move on. And look, we hope that someone else in 10 years' time has played that long for the team, because you look at football nowadays, all through the leagues, who stays at a club and has a testimonial? Not many players.
Talking of which, Colin, was you at this? That's what I just went. Remember that, Colin? George Burley testimonial?
Rich, can I... Sorry?
Do you remember that, Colin? George Burley testimonial?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Against Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Against Aberdeen, that.
Rich, what I was going to say, I was going to throw one out to you, Rich. Would James Wilson be the first player of the year that's got binned?
Yeah.
That's what's happened, basically, isn't it?
Who won Player of the Year in our relegation season?
Who won what, Kelly?
Who won Player of the Year in our relegation season? Was it Bart?
Chambers.
Oh, was it
Chambers got it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Bart went playing.
Jimmy Bullard got it when he was on loan, and then he left.
Yeah.
Right.
13 games Bullard played, Matt, when he got Player of the Year.
We are back tomorrow live 8 p.m. with Mark Detmer. Live link on the chat. Get yourself on the show. Speak to an owner of your football club.
The only place to see the Mark Detmer interview.
I will ban people asking why have we kept Aaron Drennan, just to throw that out there. Anyone asking that question will be
I need a new question now.
So do I. The first 4 pages of my research was why.
How many points did you say we'd get this season?
Colin, that was naughty yesterday, what you put in the chat. That was very naughty.
Oh, Colin. Anyway, before we bring it down.
Hey, Rich, I did apologise.
You're Colin, you're a dark horse. And then we're back Wednesday for the Youth Cup match day ticket, and then Thursday, myself, Adam Flatt, and hopefully Mike Brown, to because people keep saying it's day 1. So let's see what day 4 brings, or day 3 or day 5, or we'll be here every step of the way. But to finish the show, courtesy of ITFC, it only seems right. It only seems to end on this. So until tomorrow, 8 p.m. with love, with care. Apparently there's no audio, so give me a moment and I will sort the audio out for you, and then you can have the Luke Chambers video for real. Just give me a moment. I'm terribly sorry. All best laid plans and all that. I can't believe that's just happened. What a way to end the show. Give me a moment.